Well, it's a story gripping the nation. A man going from military hero to enemy of the state. Major Matt Golsteyn, a former decorated Green Beret, was fighting in Afghanistan in 2010 during the largest battle of the war. The city, Marja, was laced with explosives and troops faced hours of gunfights. During this time, Golsteyn and his men captured a Taliban bomb maker responsible for the deaths of 2 Marines in his unit. Golsteyn was ordered to release the detainee, but he was worried the terrorists would strike again, which of course he would. He admitted to killing the bomb maker in 2011, and the Army cleared him of wrongdoing in 2015. But after an interview with Bret Baier in 2016, the Army decided to reopen the case.
Really, you realize quickly you make things worse. It is an inevitable outcome that people who are cooperating with coalition forces, when identified, will suffer some terrible torture or be killed.
Shortly after releasing the Taliban detainee, Golsteyn took matters into his own hands.
Did you kill the Taliban bomb maker?
Yes.
Also known as an ambush. Now the Army has charged Golsteyn with murder, and he will face an Article 32 hearing on March 14th. Until then, he has been restricted to Fort Bragg, but this morning he joins us for an exclusive, his first TV interview since facing this charge. Major Matt Golsteyn and his wife, Julie Golsteyn, thank you both for being here. It is an honor to sit with you, to spend time with you. I've been following this case. I can't imagine how difficult it has been for you and your family, so we're grateful for you to be here this morning.
Thank you.
Matt, let me start with you. First of all, you're a month out from this hearing. Give our audience an update of what you're facing right now as you prepare for this.
So, an Article 32 is roughly the military equivalent of a grand jury hearing. Just very few rights are afforded to the defense. It's generally been a rubber stamp for the prosecution before, so it'll be short. So we're preparing for a court-martial.
Hold on, it'll be short, you're saying. But break down for our audience, what is the biggest charge you may face? And what is the lightest charge you would face?
There's only one charge, and that's premeditated murder, and that carries with it a minimum of life in prison. Minimum of life in prison.
So, Julie, I'll get to you in a second, but I want to stick on that for a second. So, maximum of a death penalty.
Yes.
Minimum of life in prison. You're a Special Forces member. You've been honored, by the way, with the Silver Star, which the Army stripped from you. You're making a tough call on the battlefield on a guy who killed U.S. troops. He's a known Taliban bomb maker. He was killed, the body disposed of. Ultimately, you made a tough call in the moment defending your guys in battle. And I got to wrap my brain around the fact that they want to put you in prison for life.
That's right. What has happened is, well, we conducted an ambush.
Yeah.
I conducted an ambush. And over these years with the Army, and particularly this time, the United States Army Special Operations Command seems to be intent on characterizing an ambush as murder, which in effect says that just what is their basic mission, that Army Special Operators and many regular Army, like infantry soldiers, have done over the last 15 years. Those routine combat actions are now being characterized as murder.
Absolutely. It's because of the rules of engagement. We were talking about this just moments ago in the green room. We had something in Samarra, Iraq, 2005, 2006 called status-based rules of engagement. If you knew someone was a bad guy and you could prove it, they're an enemy combatant who can be killed whether they're shooting at you or filling up their gas tank because they're trying to kill you. Julie, a lot of this is military speak. You're here supporting proudly your husband. You've been a powerful advocate for him. As a family member, this all happens to you as well. How are you doing?
We're doing okay. We are seeing just how malicious and vindictive the Army is being. They are trying to separate us as a family, keep Matt from his legal counsel, even going so far as trying to break us financially by keeping him at Fort Bragg.
Why? Why?
That's an excellent question.
Listen, I love the Army. I've served in it. You love the Army. You love the Army. What is it about an institution that decides to crack down on someone like Matt?
I wish I could tell you. I don't know.
I think that what you've seen is that it has failed to be able to follow its own rules. It's been very clear that USASOC, the Special Operations Command, is becoming incapable of policing itself.
And so they police you.
Right, and we're sat and were quiet and kind of had that faith and expectation that commanders would resolve this at some point in time. Not only did they not do that, but they've kind of almost doubled down, tripled down on a path that got started by some investigative and prosecutorial misconduct.
Which they know of.
Which they are well aware of.
Which they're aware of, and it's no small thing to strip someone of a Silver Star, which is one of the highest valor awards anyone can get in our military. Listen, Bronze Star is one thing. Silver Star is the real deal. Your Special Forces tab, they took meaningful, substantive things from you, yet at this point, some of which after an interview where you were, because you wanted to join the CIA, you wanted to go to Iraq and continue serving your country.
Right.
I think a lot of our viewers won't understand the mindset that says there's already been retribution. Why go all the way to the point where you're going to put someone in the brig for their life?
I think this is where, if you look at describe the situation as, means to an end, I think we're looking at the end right now, which is just to, bring us back to Bragg right before the holidays, right before the half-day schedule, to come back to have a $211,000 debt to the government appear on my pay statement, so I've got no pay due.
Wow.
And, keep me from my employment, from my family, and, ultimately from my legal counsel. So this is, we've made many appeals to the command saying this is, this restriction is making it very hard for me to have access to counsel and prepare my defense. And the response has been that my primary duty is to in-process a post that I never out-processed.
Your primary duty right now is to in-process a post. They're
not
effectively
prepare my defense.
Wanting to just keep you there. And the presumption of innocence or the ability to defend yourself, it almost feels like it's out the window, right, Julie?
Absolutely. Absolutely. They're not looking for the truth. They want their version of the truth and their storyline, which has driven this entire thing for 8 years. So they're not seeking justice.
They're working on, in some cases, round 3 of immunity to people who gave statements willingly. And so, I think the message is being sent as clear is that they're just not getting the message. They need to tell them what they want to hear.
You will give us the right answer.
You will give us the right answer, and then we'll leave you alone.
Here's what the Army has to say. Their statement is the primary purpose of this hearing is to determine whether there's enough probable cause that Major Golsteyn violated Article 118 of the Uniform Code of Military Justice, premeditated murder, to protect Major Goldstein's rights and maintain integrity of the legal process. It would be inappropriate to comment further as it goes on until the outcome of the hearing. Now, the president weighed in on this, as you both know, in December. He tweeted this after, Julie, you were on this program. He said, at the request of many, I will be reviewing the case of a U.S. military hero, which is entirely correct, Major Matt Golsteyn, who is charged with murder. He could face the death penalty from our own government after he admitted to killing a terrorist bomb maker while overseas. That tweet, I've got to imagine, gave you some hope. But at the same time, how did the Army react to that tweet?
Well, first of all, that came 72 hours after we had gotten the charges, and when I got home that weekend, just to briefly see my son before I think we had to run right back to Bragg, it just gave him a sense of relief on his face that someone was actually paying attention and caring about his dad.
In a situation like
this. Really, so it was a real blessing. What we've seen, from the Army and even legal pundits opining on this concept of undue command influence, and they're so worried that somehow he's going to come in and undermine the military justice process. Well, I would love those same people to tell me where was all that concern for the last 7 years.
Yeah, well,
with the fingerprints of unlawful command influence all over the place.
He is the commander-in-chief.
He is the commander-in-chief, and if the system is supposed to be either fair or at least slightly biased in favor of the defense, how can the president coming in to review it
that's what you hope for,
right.
An engaged commander-in-chief.
The prosecution has no rights.
No one cared when John McHugh was ripping medals off of his chest. I would say that is undue command influence from the Secretary of the Army.
What do you hope? So your husband is a warfighter, may serve to do something most would never do, went to the most dangerous place, one of the most dangerous places on earth, saw men lose their life, made tough calls that other people would, in fact, calls that a lot of us would want to make. I released guys back from my platoon, from my unit, who I knew were bad guys because I was told I had to do that. And my biggest fear, keeps me up at night sometimes, is did that guy come back and kill more Americans? He did something, frankly, I wish I and many others would have done. What is your message to the president, to the Army today about the fate of your husband?
This is wrong, what they are doing to him. Matt served this country and he loves this country, and he deserves so much more. This is disgusting, what they are doing to him. It is heartbreaking to me as a wife to watch my husband, who is honestly the most amazing human being I have ever known, to be dragged down by his own command. I have heard from so many men who have served with him. They have written me letters. I have heard from the wives. This is not only affecting our family, but it is affecting all of those men who lost their friends, Jeremy and Larry over there, and their families. I've heard from their mothers and their sisters about how much this hurts them to have to relive this.
Amen. So well said. Julie, Matt, we are in your corner. God bless you. Thank you for your service.
Thank
you
you
for telling your story and the courage you still show coming on TV to tell that side when the deck is stacked against you. We're going to follow this case.
And in fact, just before we close, I just want to say that we're not here today if it isn't for Congressman Duncan Hunter.
Okay.
Right.
Amen. Duncan Hunter has been a warfighter's warfighter.
Right.
Yes, he has.
Both of you. Thank you very much.
Thank
God
you.
bless you.